I think we'll go ahead and hop to it. Hippity hoppity. This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Heroes, gather tribute and earn my favor. What do you say? Are you ready to begin?
Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Greg Gizmozord Parker, and you are listening to Lords of the Storm, episode 156, the weekly Heroes of the Storm podcast for you, the true Heroes of the Storm. I'm joined tonight, of course, by the Zord Lords themselves, Mr. Kevin Multizord Ellis, and our permanent third chair, Mr. Alpaca Zord Jennington. Unbelievable, guys. Just unbelievable. Myself, and Al had a chat.
Mm-hmm.
And TBK, he's just off the show. He doesn't have the commitment.
Nope.
He had...
Doesn't put in any work, honestly.
There's nothing. And
He didn't write today's agenda or anything.
We're sick of it, and so we just had to cut ties,
Yeah, and today in particular, he's taking off for the most lazy reason I can imagine, honestly. Like who does that?
Yeah, it's just...
Creating a new human life?
Exactly, It's happens every day. Every day. But
technically every minute, right? Isn't that how it breaks down?
Yeah.
So it's not that special, TBK.
It's not...
I mean, congrats on your new kid.
Yes.
But it's so commonplace. That's all.
No, we're of course we're kidding.
Yes,
he had a little girl born yesterday. No, or was it today?
Yes.
Yesterday.
I'm not sure, actually.
I don't remember when I got that message.
Mm-hmm.
So his second child, is a boy and a girl. So congrats to him. A little Nova, I'm sure.
Probably. They're both kind of blondish, he and his wife. So odds are Nova-esque.
Yes. So
yeah.
So he's going to be taking obviously this week off, and he is more than welcome to take however many weeks he needs off to get the family stuff together. Because
Al's
Multi
gonna
and
keep his chair warm anyway. It's fine.
Yes, fine. He is very hairy. He is good at body warmth. So, but yeah. So
Wicked in chat confirms she was born this morning. I'm glad that she knows and we don't.
Honestly, these past 2 days have kind of mushed together for me.
Oh yeah, no, I don't even know what time is anymore. Like as a concept.
Yeah. But we do still have a show. And on this week's episode, season 2 of 2018 has begun. Still no new hero announcement. Mm-hmm. The Western Clash went out with a bang, and we get to some listener questions. So without further ado, actually, before we further ado, Multi, how have you been? What have you been up to in gaming?
I've been doing well overall, for sure. I've played, of course, my mix of Hearthstone and Heroes. Did some Hero League, actually wrapping up last season, so that was good. I actually wanted to take a quick moment, Gizmo, to school you on lore, though, one more time, because I want to talk not so much about gaming, but about the book I'm reading. So I'm finally getting into that Arthas book by Christy Golden. Mm-hmm. Just kind of going over Arthas's storyline. And I'm kind of finding it hard to read for a couple reasons. One of them being that I just get Ben Brode's Arthas rap stuck in my head the whole time I'm reading it. The other reason is, I also get the, if anytime Uther comes on, I basically hear in my mind, you should drink from the water fountain and stuff like that. So it's throwing me off a bit. But, okay, so I can clear up two things here real quick on this. One of them, how we've had on the show the conversation about, who's the real KT? Is it Kael'thas or Kel'Thuzad? So there's a scene in the book, and this doesn't really spoil anything, but Kael'thas encounters Jaina while they're in school in Dalaran, and they're both taking classes around the same time. He's kind of like awkwardly hitting on her, and he says, "You can just call me Kale." So that's what I'm going to do, Kael'thas. I'm just going to call you Kale.
Yeah, I thought we agreed that KT was the original KT.
Oh yeah, no, no, we
Kael'thas is Kale.
definitely did, but I think this just puts it to rest,
Oh, yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
So yeah. And then the other thing, so just this is more of like a quick fun fact. So can you guess who trained young Arthas in combat, like as a young, middle school aged kid? Just take a guess.
Just take a guess. I will say.
There's a
There,
dog.
that's my answer right there. No,
Okay.
he's like, there's too much empty space here. Need filler.
Had to fill it. Yeah.
I can't even
Thank you,
think
Drew.
of any names right now. The guess I was going to say would be, the from the Warcraft movie, Travis's character.
Oh, Lothar?
Yes, Lothar.
No, way too high ranking in the Alliance military at the time. No, Muradin Bronzebeard.
Really?
Yeah, they were beating up on each other.
So why? How is Muradin lower? Muradin
Not
was a
sure.
king.
Yeah, well, fine, whatever.
I think Muradin was a
Arthas
king,
was
right?
a prince.
Yeah,
That's
Arthur's
pretty-
the prince, but
royal.
I don't know, is what it is.
Yeah.
Very good, cool. Well, myself, I got sucked into a game again that I hadn't been in a while, and that is called Diablo. So I was
Nice.
playing some heroes and stuff, and then I opened up my launcher. I saw the Diablo button staring at me. I clicked on it and saw that a new season had just started. So I was like, yeah, I'll just kind of hop in, mess around right now. A little brainless activity. And 2 days later, I'm playing still and already at level 70. I think I'm up to Paragon 3, like 340-ish now.
So you haven't died yet? You're doing hardcore,
No,
I assume?
I'm doing casual this season
Oh, okay. That's cool.
because I went in with the intent that I was just gonna, play casually. But it's it's been fun, and that game's gonna have me for a little bit, I think.
Yeah, no, that's cool. These rumors swirling around about it coming out on the Switch are interesting. They're unsubstantiated so far, but there's been some.
I don't know. I think it's gonna happen. So that tweet came out, and then because we talked about this on CTR a little bit last night. The tweet came out. Blizzard said it wasn't happening, but another source that I forgot which it is said there is something probably happening, and people are thinking that the reason Hearthstone was going to come out is there were mutterings of something of Blizzard's coming to the Switch, so people assumed Hearthstone because that's the portable one, and they
Right.
put the lid on that. And so now it's like, oh, well, Diablo's already been ported to consoles, so maybe that makes sense. Plus, that was just a sweet little nightlight, and I actually want one. So Blizzard, if you're selling those,
Yeah.
I haven't checked the store, but I really want it. And I do think Diablo would be fantastic on the Switch, I gotta say.
I feel like it would be a great nightlight for my 4-month-old son. By the way, he turned 4 months today. It would both keep him nice and cozy and maybe terrify him a little bit. So
Or it's
it's
turn him
character
into a
building.
man really young. Like
That's right.
He's a honey badger. He ain't afraid. He don't care.
No, not at all.
Honey badger
at
don't
all.
care. But let's go ahead and get into some stuff. Before we get into the news, Patreon update. It's weird. The website's Patreon, but if you pledge your patron wordplay, I don't know. We had talked about our changes and how one of our goals was going to be the community artwork that we were going to do every once in a while. Our first one is finished by Alarak of the Storm. And if you're watching the video or YouTube, here it is. Oh, it's wonderful.
It's so good.
Um,
This is one of those things that Ryan TBK worked alongside him a little bit to make happen, and just the whole time he was saying, "You guys aren't even going to believe this when you see it," and I don't. So there you have it.
I feel like the look Sylvanas and I are giving each other is just, that's how it is. But
Yeah.
it's how it is, but people may misconstrue it. people may look at this and see like, oh, like, oh, hey, Sylvanas, what's up, babe? And, her looks like, oh gosh, what's this turd doing again? But really, the look on her face is saying, I'll be right there. I'm just going to go put this turkey on the plate.
I was about to
or
say,
on the
yeah, she
counter.
is bringing you an entire turkey, so
It is.
that's usually a good sign. Like that's not even first date material. That's second or third.
Or else she's walking past me with the turkey to give it to everyone else. I don't know.
That's also possible. The one thing that's for sure happening in this photo, though, is Ryan's head is gone within the next 10 seconds.
Yeah, the sword is on its way down.
Yep, sure is.
But this is great. Again, we posted this to our Twitter. If you have not seen it, go check that out. Also on our Facebook. If you are a patron, you will be getting sent a high-res version of this image that you will be, free to use as wallpapers, a screensaver, whatever you want. Whatever you want. It's
and that's for any level, right? That's the
any
base
level.
backer deal. Yeah.
So thank you very much to Alaric of the Storm for that. It is absolutely wonderful, and I love that Sylvanas is my tribute to that.
I also love the ratings that the different. I took it as the different games were giving us and how poorly we rate in StarCraft, but that's probably accurate. That's probably accurate.
Our lore.
Yeah, we totally.
Let me take a look at that again. So World of Warcraft 10, Diablo. Yeah, that actually works. I was trying to figure that out myself, and I bet that's what it is.
Yep, could be. Not sure. I also don't know if Diablo's fully writing 5.7 backwards or it's 7.5, but each are individually written backwards. I'm not sure, but either way.
Could go either way. Let's go ahead, though, and hop on into the news. First up, we have Season 2, 2018, has officially begun as of March 6th, and it will be running through the week of June 12th. So hopefully everyone got their mounts in for last season. It snuck up on me, and I did not finish my Team League placements.
I barely got all mine in, so it's all good. Luckily, this past mount was okay. The boar, fine. But the artwork behind this next one, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You've seen this?
So we are, at least for a season, taking a step away from the elemental crystal beasts, and we're getting what looks to be an incredible, Triceratops.
Triceratops and kind of also Ankylosaurus in a way. That tail is definitely the mace tail that they used to have. I think I have the right dinosaur there.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Ankylosaurus?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. With the club tail.
That's right.
But it really is incredible. And it looks, I don't know if this is just the teaser they were intending or if this is kind of as far as they've gotten with it, because it's not an actual model teaser like we normally get. It's kind of the stages of drawing to it, which is really cool. And the epic one is covered in armor. It's not just more spikes. It's got
it does have more spikes, but
it does.
Yes, it also has armor.
But it's super neat, and I'm super excited for this one. So I'm looking to knock out my Team League placements early on instead of waiting and being left out again.
Yeah, last season I waited because I wanted to see if the personal-based MMR was going to come back.
Yeah.
So this next time I'm not going to wait either.
Yeah. Well, and they said it would be coming with the beginning of a season, so obviously it's not this one.
Right.
So hopefully season 3. But make sure to knock those out. You, of course, will have the profile picture rewards, or portrait rewards, sorry, as well as the gold rewards, depending on how you end up in the league. So it's good to have another season around, I guess. And hopefully only having to play placement matches once this time for all of you out there.
I would assume so. Hey, if it's of any comfort, though, so you remember that big rank change that was coming to Hearthstone?
Uh-huh.
So they butchered that one, too, and had all kinds of weird placements and all this stuff. They actually brought it down for a day and brought it back up, and the jury's actually still out to see whether it's truly fixed. But they did give people a lot of bonus stars for missing that one day. So anyway, I guess my only point is...
as well, right? I think they got 3 free packs. Or 2.
Or no, it's going to be in an upcoming brawl. I think, where they give us that. They're going to do a StarCraft themed brawl, but I'm not sure on that one. But either way, yeah. My
Okay.
point is, this isn't the only Blizzard game that's had ranked issues, even recently.
Yeah, and not to give any excuses, we've already made our point that everyone's fairly upset about what happened and that there was a long term of no word from Blizzard on what was going on. But it's not an easy thing changing up rank systems. Just like anything else, you change one thing, it could mess everything up. And they
Right.
try and roll into these seasons really quick, like we've talked about before, pretty much no break, or really no break. So they're bound to
Yeah, I don't
happen.
want to belabor the point, but
Just hopefully not, big issues. As I said in the intro, we have not had a hero announcement yet. We were hoping for one last week. We talked about last week the picture that looked like it was going to be the background or a loading screen that looked very Diablo-ish. And we were thinking maybe we were going to see something last Friday on an announcement or a teaser. Nothing. We didn't get anything. But now the new thing is that potentially the next hero will be from the StarCraft universe and will be revealed next week, along with potentially a StarCraft-themed brawl. So
it all checks out because it lines up with the StarCraft 20th anniversary.
Yes, exactly.
That much makes sense. To me, if they're going to do that route, I would think they'd have to have a hero kind of based more out of straight up StarCraft instead of StarCraft 2, because that would just better encompass the past 20 years of the game. And, they just re-released the original remastered version as well. So I was kind of trying to think through like some of the just units and stuff in there. Naturally, you guys saw Alarak gave us a super low StarCraft rating, so we don't know our StarCraft lore very well here. But I did play StarCraft 1 a bunch as a kid, and I don't know. So I think there's one of the main characters that's a Dragoon, which is a Protoss unit that's kind of Phoenix. Yeah, that's what I thought. So that's a thought for me. The other totally wild thought I had was, what if we had just a flat-out air unit? Like, how would you feel about that? Someone who just can be attacked, unlike Medivh's Raven form, but otherwise just disregards terrain, like Medivh's Raven form. Would you think that would work at all?
It'd be very tricky. I feel that would be very hard to balance, I think.
Yeah, you'd kind of have to make it weaker than normal to kind of balance it out. But yeah, I see Tech Shell in the chat, Wraith or Scout or something. Yeah, yeah, you'd have to like move slowly-ish, and then also just kind of. I would think of the group fights, you'd be picking around the corners and like fading out.
Well, you wouldn't even have
in.
to pick around a corner. Technically, I guess you could just be over or something. But yeah,
that's what I mean.
I don't know. I think it could be done, but also, we have Raiders and stuff. That may be kind of their answer to it. And
kind of.
And why can't it not Alarak? Artanis. There we go. He has his ship that shoots down.
That he pees from space.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I am, as you said, our StarCraft lore very low. Mine lower than yours. Would have to agree. I think Phoenix seems to be the hot key here. I would actually personally love to see another Zerg. I don't know what all there would be, but we have how many
other stuff?
What do we have? 2? Is there only 2 Zerg in the game right now? Abathur and Zagara?
No. Abathur, Zagara, Kerrigan, technically-ish.
Yeah.
I don't know about Dahaka. I honestly don't know much about him in general.
He is.
But he is.
I don't know what I'm thinking.
And there's a few more.
Yeah. So never mind. We can have another Protoss. That's fine.
We've been getting a lot of Protoss lately, though, I feel like, at least in comparison. So who knows? Mm-hmm. We'll see.
But yeah, I'm a little sad, and maybe the thing we talked about last week, the Diablo / Dragonshire picture, maybe that's coming after. Maybe it's still the next thing. Who knows? But we'll just have to kind of wait and see. But there has been a Reddit post by Astron, who I think is speaking for a lot of people here when he wrote, and this was 2 days ago, Dear Blizzard, can we get an ETA for the next hero? because we hadn't heard anything in a while. I think last week we were hoping for one because that would have tied, I think, with the latest or longest drought between hero releases. I think it's 5 weeks. We've done once before. This
Right.
officially will make it the longest we've had since the game's been in alpha.
Because yeah, it'll be 6 weeks, right? I mean, if they announce
Yeah.
or tease next week and then it releases the one after.
Which is crazy to think that Maiev has already been in the game 4 weeks now.
Yeah, it is crazy.
Wow.
So Alan is the one who wrote back and he said, "Hi guys, we'll be releasing info next week on the hero." So if it's just info as well, it might be like one of those Friday info releases. Maybe they go on PTR the following Tuesday and then may not even be out until the following Tuesday. So we're getting like deep into March at this point. It's possible.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe they could do just like a teaser on Friday. They could do stuff over the weekend, maybe possibly, and still get it in there for PTR on Tuesday. But yeah, we'll have to see. But he also talked about beyond that. Believe me, we've got a ton of cool stuff coming throughout the year, including a bunch of new heroes, of course. We're eager to share each addition to the game with you just as soon as they're fully baked. So it is nice to see that response from Alan DeBerry directly, because I know a lot of people were kind of freaking out, and we'll get into those talks here in a minute.
Sure.
But kind of getting back with the whole StarCraft thing, hopefully we'll find out what that is. But there are rewards going throughout all the StarCraft games right now. If you just log in, I'm sure if you play Heroes, potentially play some more Blizzard games as well. So just don't forget to log in right now. For Diablo, you will get a achievement and I don't remember the exact name of it, but it's a pet that is a cruiser, battleship that follows around to pick up the gold.
Oh, nice.
And,
It actually picks up gold for you? That's cool.
Yeah, the pets do. In Hearthstone, you get some free packs. In World of Warcraft, actually, I believe there's going to be several different types of pets throughout this month that are just in the world that you can go up to. And if you type /salute to them, you get an achievement. I don't know if you get the pet. Don't know how that works. I haven't seen any yet. And in StarCraft, you will get, I think, custom UI skins for each race, and as well a portrait for each race as well.
Okay.
I know in Heroes of the Storm, you're going to get some portraits, a Zerg, Protoss, and Terran portrait, which are cool. And am I missing something else that we're getting in Heroes here?
I'm trying to check it myself.
Why are these all running
StarCraft
together?
themed brawl. It says here in this PC Games Inn article, the StarCraft themed brawl, and then coming out and a StarCraft hero to follow on. So, I mean, I don't know if that's really a confirmation coming from PC Games Inn. I know some of these gaming news sources, actually even the one I cited earlier about potentially Diablo 3 coming to the Switch, sometimes get their information from quote-unquote sources,
Yes.
which may or may not be a thing. But,
So, yeah, we'll have to check on that. And also, Overwatch, if you log in, you will get a Sarah Kerrigan ghost skin
for Widowmaker.
for Widowmaker, yes.
Yeah.
Which is cool. So make sure to log into those if you have any of those other games.
And you do. Let's be honest.
Yeah, if
here.
you're playing Heroes of the Storm, it's because you're a Blizzard fan. Of course.
You would think. Yeah. But I mean, maybe not. Right in if you're just a straight up you've only played Heroes ever.
That would actually be.
I want to know you.
That'd be interesting. And I bet there's some out there who just came
There
over from
probably
like
are.
League of Legends or Dota.
Yeah, I could see it. And they
So-
just like the different team dynamic and stuff. Yeah, totally.
For sure.
Totally.
The Sonya Medivh / Ana rework patch is now live that we talked about last week. There haven't been any changes to those updates, so they went in pretty smooth. They did, however, add a developer comment for Ana, just mentioning that while Ana's current win rate is sitting above most other healers, north of 50, we have made some changes to make her feel more meaningful in solo support compositions, along with the addition to self-sustain through Shrike. We also took the opportunity to do some talent balancing as well. While there are no major outliers in terms of win rate, She definitely has some talents that are overshadowing others in terms of pick rates. We tried to address the majority of these, hopefully open up some new strategic choices for Ana players. We really enjoyed the changes internally, and we're excited to see what players can do with them. So hopefully those all work out. I have been hearing good things, seeing good things on Twitter, at least of Sonya. I don't know
Oh yeah.
about the other two so far. As I mentioned, I'm
Honestly,
not
of
much
the
of a
three
Medivh
of
player.
them, yeah, I'm not much of a Medivh player. Of the three of them, I'm maybe most excited about the Ana ones. Honestly, I don't really play any of these three that much, and obviously the Ana change is the least of the three of them in this patch. But I don't know. I just it shores up some of the complaints I had with her in terms of like her self sustain and all that. And yeah, if I were to hop in with one right now at this instant, and maybe I should just as we do the rest of this show, I'd pick her. I don't know.
All right. We also got an email in this last week about, and this is going to tie into just a bigger discussion here. Last week, when we talked about, I don't remember actually if it was last week or the week before, when the developers came out and talked about the new release schedule and how it was going to be more linear instead of clumps. And obviously, this drought in Heroes is a part of that. And this email was from Hampus, and I actually don't have it up right in front of me. It's not wanting to pull up on my computer for some reason.
I've got it. You want me to read
Yeah,
it,
go ahead
or
and
do
read
we
it.
want to just cover it? Okay. So it says, "Hello, longtime listener here. Thank you for a great weekly show. I always find it very entertaining and informative. So thanks for that. I was, however, disappointed with this week's episode, referring to last week's, I believe, due to the fact that you all seem completely fine with fewer hero releases. Something that I personally think is a very bad thing for the game. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, all of you are entitled to your own opinion about this, but I do think you should be somewhat critical of this decision. Stop saying that reworks are new content. They're not. New skins are cool, but it's purely cosmetic. I don't understand how you could possibly think that reworks of old content and cosmetics are of similar relevance as a new hero. Best regards from Hampus." So let me first address that last bit. I have never thought that because to me, and really through the history of the game, a new hero is the most exciting thing. It's far more exciting than a new map, which is probably the second most exciting thing to me. And then everything else down the line is yeah, tertiary to those two, in my opinion. So I mean, I'm with you on that one. I think the point maybe at least I was trying to make last week about reworks being new content, quote unquote, is that you're right. I mean, unless it's a total kit overhaul, which we haven't really seen per se, it's not entirely new either. But to bring someone into the meta that hasn't been previously and just let us play with them more, I don't know, is in a way is bringing something new, at least to the meta, but perhaps not the game itself. So, but otherwise, so yeah, I know we want to kind of springboard into just a conversation about the new release schedule here and how we feel about it. I will say, I'll kick it to you in a second here, Gizmo, but I want to start off with, we've already talked about the fact that this is perhaps the longest we're going to have waited between the last hero and this one. And this right now to me feels like too much. Like if this is the new cadence, I'm a little not like freaked out about the doom of the game or anything, but a little underwhelmed. But I seem to think that they were talking about, yes, a longer cadence between heroes, but not this every time. So do you remember if they said anything specifically about that?
I don't remember the specifics. For some reason, I feel like it was mentioned that it was going to be like a month instead of every month, maybe a month and a half, something like that, which would be 5 to 6 weeks.
Sure.
But no, just going back to the email real quick. Yeah, I completely agree that the skins and stuff don't fill the gap that Heroes is leaving. New Heroes coming into the game is leaving. I think, and I don't remember exactly what my wording was last week or TBKs or anyone's. We were just talking about like whenever skins come out and stuff with their new system, or whenever new reworks, like them bundling the skins with the reworks and stuff, like that is a good size content patch that comes out. Because I mean, a rework, it is content. It is, like Multi said, potentially changing the meta, and it does, depending on the size of the rework, can completely change how the hero feels and plays. Obviously, I would love to have heroes continue to come out every 4 weeks. but I'm okay with a little bit longer. I would be okay with 5 weeks, even 6 weeks. And I do agree that this has felt like a really long time, and it'll only have been 5 weeks now. But I'm just keeping in mind that every new hero that comes out is harder and harder for them to keep the balance in the game, because they're adding on another hero that has 3 sets of abilities, however many sets of talents, that they're having to worry about the new hero's abilities and talents interacting with and not being completely busted or broken. They're having to synergize. So I can understand why it's going longer, and I think as we get more heroes in the game, that's just kind of how it's going to go. But by no means, I mean, if it was a perfect world, absolutely, I would want heroes every 3-4 weeks coming in the game.
You kidding? Perfect world, I'd want one every week. That'd be so much fun to cover on a show too.
Yeah, but again, I completely understand your contradictory thoughts on that, and it makes sense, and that's completely 100% okay as a fan. But this kind of leads into, there have been discussions the past couple weeks on Reddit, people crying doomsday that Heroes of the Storm is dying. And not just because it's been a while since a hero has come out. Somebody noticed that on the Blizzard gear store, the Heroes of the Storm section went from, I think, 4 or 5 pages of items down to 1. It's only 1 page of stuff now that you can get on Heroes of the Storm gear from Blizzard. Of course, there's still stuff from Jinx and places like that.
Sure.
So Reddit does as Reddit does, the internet, and talking about how the game's dying.
The end is coming.
End is coming.
To quote the Doomsayer.
Yes.
But yeah.
But Sam Braithwaite, who is the esport franchise lead for Heroes of the Storm, while in Katowice, came out and was talking about pretty much how that is not the case at all. Obviously, the Blizzard store being limited like that can raise alarms, but they're just, at least when it comes to the store, kind of taking a step back to strategize, see what, potentially what was selling, what wasn't selling. Maybe they took the stuff off that wasn't selling, and they're thinking about what else to add on there. And
here's the thing about HOTS merch in general is that, I mean, again, Heroes of the Storm is the collection of all the other Blizzard games.
Yeah, it's like any Blizzard merch is HOTS merch.
Essentially, right. So yeah, if you buy an Arthas t-shirt, is it really a HOTS t-shirt unless it just screams Heroes of the Storm, or is it a World of Warcraft t-shirt? I don't know. So, and I mean, they've come out with some sweet HOTS specific stuff. Don't get me wrong. I mean, that water bottle is the only thing, as you know, because you picked it up for me, that I got from BlizzCon last year. So I mean, it's a thing, but yeah, it totally makes sense that they would go back and review these, and hopefully this is a sign that they're coming out with a new line of stuff as well. You never know.
Yeah, and that's what I'm hoping. But he also went on to talk about, Heroes of the Storm's not dying. They're not giving up on it. They're excited about HGC 2019 and making plans for what they're going to be doing for that already, as well as content that's going to be put out, not just in 2018, but in 2019. They're already working on Heroes, Battlegrounds, all sorts of stuff. And as well, some people bringing up points, Blizzard, I think the thing that sparked this as well was Paragon shut down out of nowhere. After also, I will say, saying similar things of, they're excited to the future and stuff. And it was like 2 weeks later, bam, it's gone. And then followed by Gigantic, shut down shortly after that.
Oh, really?
Blizzard is not a gaming company to give up on their games. Even if they were going to be, taking a step back from Heroes, which I do not think for any reason they are doing that. And I do not want to put that idea into anyone's head that people, Lords of the Storm is saying Heroes is dying. That is not the case at all.
No.
If that was happening, though, we would still have Heroes of the Storm. We would still be getting content occasionally. I mean, they're still patching Diablo 2. They just released a patch for for Warcraft 3. They don't give up on games. Like, we will have this game to play, I think, as long as Blizzard is around.
Yeah, easily. And possibly beyond. You never know. Because honestly, like, think about it. They're about to bring back Warcraft 3 into a whole new light. And I mean, we've got the StarCraft remastered and stuff. So I mean, it's super long term on this game. Yeah, it's around to stay.
Yeah, for sure. And
Mhm.
HGC is getting better and improving. I still think there is a very healthy future for this game in the MOBA genre, and I'm excited for it. Also, something I forgot to mention: the Enforcer skins are live with this last patch. And another cool thing to mention with those, the skins are available separately. It's not just, you don't
Yeah.
have to buy the entire bundle, which is really nice. It looks like Blizzard took some feedback from that, and
And you get
hopefully,
all the tints too, right? If you buy one? Or did I read that wrong?
I do not know about that.
Perhaps they're bundled with all the tints. I
Yeah.
thought I saw some feedback somewhere to that effect. I'd need to check it.
But this is a nice change, even if that is the case, because I saw there's still like 880 gems, something like that. It's nice to have that option, and hopefully this continues going forward. For
Yeah, it just
not
gives
having
us
to
more
buy them.
options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is a-okay with me. Another thing happening on Reddit, the good old report system. Some people abuse that system, and there has been a streamer and someone who as I was reading through this post, at least on Reddit, I believe might be involved in the HGC in another region, but was streaming, got tilted that their team lost, and instantly just reported everybody on their team.
On their own team, yeah.
And this caused enough of an uproar on Twitter that Alan DeBeery himself, again, once got on and said it's unacceptable to falsely report players. We've made some changes to catch the most egregious abusers of the reporting system, but we'll keep working to improve the system. As a warning to others, we will take action against your account if you abuse the warning system. And he said, this particular case, we've got people looking into the incident, and we will take the appropriate action, which is nice. And I always imagined that these reports wouldn't do much anyways, because one, I don't think your account gets flagged and that's multiple people are reporting you for the same game. And then two, I would think if there was that would spark somebody. I'm sure there are some auto bans and silences. Those are in effect. But I also imagine in some cases it would be somebody looking into it and would see clearly that nothing was wrong there. But that is, yeah, you can get tilted. That is clearly not a reason to use the report system. There is no report drop down. My team sucks. Except there's no button for that.
Yeah, not really a reportable offense. Exactly. I will say this though, Alan, if you're listening to me, please have mercy, because I was in a Hero League game last week, and oh hey dog.
Did you report someone, Multi, for no reason?
I reported. Well, okay, so he was getting angry and salty, which whatever, and then he ended up actually midway through he was saying, okay, well I'm just going to sit at base. And so, frustrated enough, I hopped on and reported him for AFK non-participation. But then he ended up just being like, he was still kind of distant, wasn't responding to pings or what we were doing really. We ended up winning the game actually, but yeah, I guess you could say I reported someone for something that didn't actually transpire. So please don't come after me. At least I'm being honest now about it, right?
On next week's show, it will be myself
just
and
you.
Alpaca Zord Jennington.
Solo show.
Gosh, so toxic. So toxic.
I know. I'm so sorry. And to that gentleman, never mind. You weren't a gentleman. Do your thing.
Do your thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so lots of stuff happening on Reddit this past week. I've actually been on the Heroes of the Storm Reddit, which I'm not a big fan of Reddit, and perusing through the stuff. And it's been
Me either.
It's been a journey. But there's this little thing that happened this last weekend called the HGC Western Clash. So let's go ahead and hop into that. All right. So the HGC Western Clash. This was a thing.
It absolutely was.
And holy crap. First off, I want to start with production, things like that. Production was amazing, as always. We
That new
had,
space intro that they made,
uh,
where it's like various heroes and they're kind of as if they're nebulous clouds of stars in space. It was incredible. It totally, I think, trounced the mountains of Nexagons that we
yeah,
had previously, and I hope they keep it because it was super cool.
yeah, production was amazing. Vandy, our new analyst and caster that joined us, did a great job for her first time on the big stage
Yeah,
for
she did.
a big HGC event. Props to her. Michael Udall did a great job as guy number 6.
Yes.
I think it's
No,
6 now,
is it 6 now? I've lost
or
track.
sixth guy.
Something like that. No, he seriously did. I honestly always like it when one of the pro players is on the analyst desk because sometimes their analysis is just super on point because obviously they've done this at that level, and he in particular I think just knocked it out of the park. I mean, I've always thought that Michael Udall was really well spoken, but he brought it to the whole thing, I thought.
Yeah, he looked a little nervous at some points, which is understandable. He's not used to being on that end of things when it comes to the HGC. But I do agree with you. I love when they do that because, his headspace, our casters and analysts, analysts, why can't I think of that word? Their job is to study the game, study replays, and try and get into the heads of these players as much as they can so that they can inform us to the best of their knowledge.
Right.
He actually is in that headspace, and he knows what's going through the player's mind. So it does bring that unique perspective, which I really do enjoy. And he wasn't
you could
right on 100% of his calls or anything like that, but you can at least see he brings the reasoning of kind of why he thinks they're going to make these certain picks or what happened throughout these certain plays, what the players were thinking, and I really enjoyed it.
he really brought a lot to the draft discussion too because you
Yeah.
kind of get into scrims that they've even done against some of the teams of, oh yeah, they tried something out like this the other week, blah blah blah. So very interesting. What else wasn't accurate every time? The person who was entering in
Yeah.
who they called at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah,
That's okay.
the first 2 days, I think it was off quite a bit. But that's
No
and
worries.
sometimes it would be right, and then they would switch it incorrectly. It's like, come on. The other thing, the big criticism I have for this event is it was I couldn't watch this stuff live, not all of it at least. I was able to catch some of it live.
Right.
And I was super stoked because I'm like, HGC, they have, the hide the spoilers and stuff. There's links directly to the VODs. It has like the ghost games and stuff, so you don't know what happened. So I get home from work Friday. I'm sitting, I'm waiting. No VODs up on this thing. I
Right.
send a tweet out to Heroes of the Storm, to HGC, asking if there's an ETA and when they'll be up. Nothing. So I'm waiting till like 10 o'clock at night. Finally, I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going to fall 2 days behind. Let me figure this out. Of course, they have the VODs up on Twitch. They weren't on YouTube either. But Twitch, I noticed when I clicked it the first time, like it doesn't have the ghost games. It may have on some of them, but not all of them. So I had to do this thing to where I went to the HGC page on Twitch. I clicked videos, and then I scrolled all the way down, and then I put like my hand as a shield in
Yes.
front of my face
The hand spoiler protector.
to where I could only see like, okay, get like Team Dig versus Heroes Hearth Game 1. I don't know what's above it. I don't know what's to the left of it. I'm gonna click on that and watch it, and
That's what
I
you have
did
to
that
do
like
on
the entire
YouTube.
time. Yeah.
Yep.
So
No, I'm totally with you.
I was a little disappointed by that. And the HGC, the Western Clash is over. They still only have the first round up.
On the site, so they
On
are
the site.
on the YouTube page. The rollout of it was quite slow, not only with the posting of the original VODs, but it also took them a little while to clump them into playlists as well, where you could pull up the series, and you know how they do, where they, even if it didn't go all 5 matches, they post 5 videos anyway, just to not throw you off in case it was a 3-0, which I love. I whoever's doing that, super props. But yeah, it's taken a while, and it's been true honestly all season. I mean, I've been watching VODs, living that VOD life this entire time since 2018 at least. And before that, into last year and before, and it does seem like it's taken a little bit longer. So
Yeah.
I mean, I get this one because there were just that many more games. I mean, it was a full Western Clash instead of just your standard week, but it does throw off the VOD life a little bit. I'll grant you that.
Well,
because full disclosure, I just finished watching the finals half hour before this show started
I mean,
today.
to me, it completely, it negates the point of the spoilers tab on the website.
In a way,
if you're
yeah.
enough into HGC to where you're going to want to use that spoilers tab, you're probably on Twitter, you're probably on social media. You can't avoid it for a week.
I tried. I
to not
super tried.
Spoiler, yeah.
And what ended up doing it was because I eventually gave up on waiting for them to post the videos for day 3 because I wanted to sit down and at least watch all of Sunday, like every second that happened. And so I did have to go to Twitch, which, by the way, if you're watching an 11-hour Twitch video and you're trying to fast forward through things like the draft or some of the breaks,
or
not only does it take some time to load. Yeah. So like you can put if you're on your phone, you can put your thumb down on the little scroll bar for time. And if you move your thumb an atom, you jump 15 minutes. A pixel, exactly. So, that's a problem as well. But
yeah.
Anyway.
So I don't know what I really just don't know why it's taking so long. Like if you have the VODs up on Twitch and on YouTube, I don't know why it would take so long to just get them linked on the website. So that is fairly disappointing to me. And again, like you said, this has kind of been going on for a while, but this is really my first experience actually needing to use it. So hopefully in the future that will be expedited more to where you can actually like at least within a day.
Yeah,
at least within a day, preferably within, a couple hours. I would actually love, I know someone in our Discord mentioned they'd love to see like a slider on the bracket to where you can slide it over to like show spoilers or not show spoilers instead of the check mark. I would like to just see a check mark thing next to each series on the bracket.
Oh, so you could choose. Yeah, I could see that.
So
like if there was a branch that you didn't really care about and just wanted to see, okay, well, sure, who won that one? Click.
Yeah.
There we go. Versus one where you're like, oh man, I need to know what happened in Tempo Storm versus Fnatic on Saturday. Then you could leave it spoiler free, click the VOD, call it good. I like that a lot, actually.
Yeah. So still room for improvement, but overall still pretty darn good site. Now let's get to the actual games. So Friday morning, we had in the bracket Team Dig versus Heroes Hearth, Team 12 versus Method, Tempo Storm versus Salots, and Fnatic versus Team Freedom. And our big question we've been talking all week, or all past couple weeks, is how is NA going to stack up against Europe? It was like 2 years since we took a series off of Europe, and quite a while since we've, even had a decent showing. We had
an okay BlizzCon showing, but yeah.
It was answered pretty darn quick. Dig Heroes Hearth went 2-1, but holy crap, Heroes Hearth really had a shot at taking that series. They looked incredible. The games were fantastic. And what a way to kick off the Western Clash. Just incredible series.
That was a great opener. And I mean, they did take a game off Dig.
Yeah.
So there's something to that.
It's like, and this is our 4 seed against their 1 seed. So it's like,
right.
Okay, let's do this. Let's go. Next set, Team 12 versus Method. Team 12 2-0s Method to move on. Our first victory against a European team in quite some time. So now if we had any questions from the first set, we're like, all right, we can do this. This is one that we thought may potentially be able to win, and they 2-0'd. Let's keep going. Tempo Storm versus Zalots, 2-0. Now it's like, okay, we're 2-1 over Europe right now. We potentially could have our dream of seeing
Right, not bad.
a NA EU Grand Finals. Next set, Fnatic Team Freedom. Team Freedom not able to pull it off. And even a little more surprising because Fnatic had a sub. Sonic, who not only had never played in a LAN environment, had never played in the HGC, subbed in because, was it Quack?
Quacknix,
Yeah,
yeah.
Quacknix.
Which is also their shot color, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Was sick, got sick and had to fly home and wasn't able to participate. So they had a sub in, and Fnatic, they really did look great. Sonic looked incredible, didn't look like he was nervous at all, played great. So they were able to take that. So then we moved down into the lowers bracket for 2 more games on Friday with Heroes Hearth versus Method and Zalots versus Team Freedom. Heroes Hearth looked great again, was able to win over Method 2-1. I guess I should have said, spoilers before we start talking about this.
Yeah. We've only spoiled Friday.
Yeah.
If by Wednesday, this is coming from the guy who finished watching the whole thing a half hour ago. So I think most people hopefully know by now, but if not, feel free to skip ahead. We'll talk about other stuff later.
Yeah.
For sure.
So again, like our 4 seed coming in against Method, who had kind of looked iffy, was able to take them off, and EU is the first team to be sent home, which is fantastic. And then Zalots versus Team Freedom. Team Freedom not able to pull it out, and Zalots moving on. So, all right, an EU team going home, an NA team going home. We're still looking good going into Saturday. So overall, the first day was beyond my expectations as far as the games we were seeing. Moving into Saturday, first game, Team Dig versus Team 12. And Team 12 not able to pull it together, going down 3-1. So they were at least able to take a game off them, which is still looking up for NA. And then Tempo Storm playing against Fnatic. Tempo Storm was able to win 3-1. So again,
pretty solid.
It's against Fnatic that doesn't have their shot caller, and it is a sub, but they were looking really well. So that was looking grand. And then we dropped back down into the losers bracket with Fnatic versus Heroes Hearth. Heroes Hearth not able to pull this one out, going down to Fnatic 3-0. So they were sent home. But overall, again, Heroes Hearth is my team. They were the 4th seed coming into this, and not only were they able to take some games off of EU, they were able to take some sets, and I think Heroes Hearth is going to be a team, if they stay together, that's really going to be strong for NA. Maybe not by BlizzCon, but for next year, for sure.
Oh, for sure.
And then the second game in the losers bracket, Team 12 versus Zalots. Team 12 went down 1-3. So 2 NA teams sent home. There's only 1 left, but darn it, Tempo Storm's been looking great, so we still have some hope. So we go into Sunday. The preview of what we think might be the grand finals. Team Dig versus Tempo Storm. Dignitas beats us 3-0. So a little sadness.
Disconcerting.
Yeah, comes over us. But you know what? Tempo Storm, they're going down to play Zalots because Zalots beat Fnatic 3-0. We beat the Zalots. We beat them 2-0. So we got this. Zalots brought their A game and was able to take out Tempo Storm 3-1. So we made it. Huh?
I was going to say, they didn't just bring their A game. I'm going to go on a Zealots rant here in a second. By the way, it is Zealots. I've let you mispronounce it this whole time, just for fun.
Okay, but that's another thing I meant to say with production. It's Zealots? Have I been saying Zalots?
Yep, but
Oh,
that's
dang
all right.
it. I know it's Zealots. I'm just dumb. I'm not the only person that pronounced Maiev incorrectly.
That's right. Yeah, Dread and I think...
And Vandy.
Who else was... Vandy, yeah. Mm-hmm.
We're saying Maiev. So, hey, Vandy, Dread, my everything, Maiev. You can thank
That's how
Wicked
you
Kitten
remember.
on that one.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Helpful tip. So, Zealots. And I feel
Yes.
I feel like they were saying Zalots on the stream.
Hey, we're saying Zealots, I think, unless one or two were saying it incorrectly. Fun fact, so it is a unit. It's actually the unit Artanis is based off of from StarCraft 1. And as a kid, I mispronounced it Zealots. So it could be worse.
It, I was gonna say Zalots is better than Zealots, but that's not true because the E is before the A. Dang it! So
Either way.
you were smarter as a kid than I am as a grown.
I was thinking,
grown
the
man.
word is zeal that it's being based off of, but yeah, whatever.
See, even
This
your-
is
even
why
your
the
thought
English
process.
language is so hard to learn, people. Okay, thank you to all of you who wrote in about last week.
So, yes, we had for our grand finals, Zealots,
Zealots.
Zealots. Wicked, I need your help. What can I do to remember this? Zealots, Team Dignitas grand finals. Team Dignitas gets a game automatically because they did not go down to the losers bracket, so they start up 1-0. We go all the way to game 6, which is actually game 7. And again, this is Zealots lost, got knocked down to the losers bracket first round, so they had to move their way back up.
Fight up the entire way.
And the game 7 or 6, I'm going to call it game 7 because that's how the score shows, was the single best game of any esport I have ever witnessed
Easy.
on Towers of Doom.
And this is the point, fam, where if you haven't seen this,
Turn it off
skip
now.
ahead a couple minutes. Or, yeah, just turn us off and go watch it and come back. Because even if you know the result, which we may as well say was Dig in the end, man, I am not kidding when I say that this literally went down to the last group fight, and it literally could have gone either way even then. Like,
Yeah.
it was reminiscent of the BlizzCon a couple years ago fight on Warhead, the just insane one up top.
Mm-hmm.
It reminded me of that in just its utter chaos and how it unfolded, and it was incredible.
Yeah, so holy crap. And this is a game, this one did end up getting spoiled for me before I was able to see the finish.
Me too.
So I kind of went into it with high expectations, which typically if you do can kind of let you down. Like I'm looking for like, all right, where's this going? Like I'm expecting something big to happen. And right out the gate, the Zealots look like they have this hand in hand. However, they start giving up some tower shots, like some free tower shots, but they're still soaking. They're getting kills. They're getting level advantage. And when it looks like they want to start turning it around, they start losing it. Team Dig starts getting some key kills, even though they're behind in kills. They're catching up in level experience, and they're continuing to be able to get objective.
Mm-hmm.
And Zealots are falling further and further behind. At one point, it gets to what? Where it's 4 to
6?
Well, I mean, even higher than that. It's like it's 4
to
to
like 15 or
yeah,
something.
15, 16, something crazy like that. And there are several situations where it's like, all right, Zealots has to keep an eye on boss. They have to keep an eye on
The boss.
the objective, like balancing. Like it is not looking good. And the last 2 fights that were on shrines in the bottom lane were the 2 craziest fights I've ever seen in my entire life.
I think they were made crazy because, in particular, the last one, it was Zealots really trying to interrupt the channeling of Dignitas.
Yeah.
Actually, there was a little of both going on, honestly. But that dynamic makes for just such interesting group fights. This is part of why I love Towers of Doom, is that, like, to do the channeling, which wins you the game, you have to bench a hero, essentially. Like, you're cutting out damage, healing, whatever it is they do to pull that off. But you've raised so much aggro, if you will, of the enemy team that they have to at least throw an ability in to stop you. And it just makes for, like, super interesting play. And that's, I think, part of how this fight broke down into something so chaotic was because it seemed like it was almost every man for himself in terms of, like, are we going to interrupt this? Are we going to channel it?
Well,
What's going on even?
yeah,
Honestly.
and ADRD's Medivh was incredible. Like the escapes he had and some of his teammates had through some of the portals were insane. Shad's healing on Stukov to save those people was insane. His massive shoves to either push people out or keep somebody in to secure kills were insane. Like there was so much happening. The casters were hype on it. It was absolutely nuts. But bottom line, it came down to, I think, 4-5. No, 3-2. It was like 4-3 or 3-2, something like that, where Zealots were actually like ahead, and like this was the final fight, and it was drug on for so long.
Oh yeah.
It was absolutely incredible. Like I already knew what happened, and I was expecting this, and I was still on the edge of my seat, just like I forgot that I knew the results. That's how intense this fight was.
I
And it's
watched
like,
that whole
holy
thing.
crap, holy crap.
I watched that whole thing, like that game in particular, thinking to myself, did I even read that spoiler wrong? Like,
Yeah.
is it possible they were congratulating them on how they did on Saturday or something? So, like I genuinely thought Zealots may have had it there some, which kind of leads me into a bit of a rant I want to go on, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
About my major complaint with the overall tournament. So if you're looking at this particular tournament from a super top level, like if you haven't watched any of these things, I could see someone looking at this and being like, "Oh, Dig went in favored. They won all their matches. There you go. There's the story. It's Dignitas. Congrats to Dig." And that's true. I mean, I don't want to take anything away from them because obviously that's what they did. They were very dominant through the entire tournament. Super fun to watch, play. I mean, I've probably honestly watched Dig more than any other team this season so far because I've just been impressed with them the whole season. So it's really, really well deserved. But I think if you are to go through an interesting story, I think the true story of the tournament was the Zealots, because as you're going through it, kind of like we said, they dropped down very beginning of the lower bracket, had to fight their way up the entire time, all the way until, again, like we just covered, the last group fight, deciding it in the final game of the finals. But when you think about it, it wasn't even necessarily that game that decided it. It was the rule where the leading team going into the finals starts off with a bonus win. And I could not hate this more than I do. I really couldn't. Because when you think about it, like, okay, so we started off Sunday with Dig versus Tempo Storm. And, I mean, it was the winners bracket finals, semifinal, whatever you want to call it. And so when Dig won, they get an extra bonus for having kicked Tempo Storm down to the losers finals. So essentially they have to play one fewer game to get to the finals, which is a bonus in itself. So they don't need the bonus win. They already get a bonus for that. And I mean, I'm not saying that the Zealots would have won a true Game 7. Could have gone either way. Both teams were playing out of their minds. But they totally could have, and I think that it's possible, and this is not the first time this has happened. I really do think it's possible that that rule threw it in their favor, and I hate it. I really hate it.
So I have shared your sentiments in this a lot, because originally it wasn't this way, and this is actually, I've told this story before about why Reynad banned me on Twitter, because at a BlizzCon, Tempo Storm lost because of this rule, when it was... lost because there wasn't this rule, and it was never stated that it was going to be this way. But Tempo Storm went through the winners bracket, and then they lost because they didn't have the game advantage, which was never mentioned. Reynad was really upset about it on Twitter. I just went in and said about how it was never set up that way, so you can't really complain about it after the fact, and then got blocked.
By Reynad himself.
Yes.
How about that?
And
are you still blocked?
I am.
Are you on Tempo Storm's bad side?
I am still blocked. But so I get your sentiment here, and I agreed with you at first. But what happens if, and I think it would have been fantastic to watch a Game 7 between this, because, again, how close it was. Dignitas loses. Okay, but now what? They lost one set, and so did Zealots.
Yeah.
So Zealots deserves to win?
Well, see, but here's the thing. So, I mean, in my mind, the set of 6 isn't necessarily a true test against each other either, because you're not on even footing to start.
But you were on even footing to start at the beginning of the tournament, and Dignitas was undefeated. Took everything that came at him.
And played one fewer set because they beat Tempo Storm, which was a bonus. Also, it should be mentioned that by the time the finals rolled around, the Zealots had played 13 games in a row. Mm-hmm. So for your friends and family at home that don't think that esports are real sports, have them try that. 'Cause I'll tell you, that tournament we were in last weekend, I was tired after like 4 games.
But Dig also had a really long break, which is also not an easy thing to come out and then play at the top of your game as well.
There's
So
advantages and disadvantages, I
in
think, to both. But
I've thought about this. I think what they're currently doing is the best system. Another thing I thought of is, okay, well, how about we do this? How about we do starting out the score 0-0, a best of what was it gonna be? A best of 5 instead of best of 7. However, if no, it was going to be a best of 7 still. Oh
sure.
man, how did I do this? I worked out in my head and it worked really well.
I think it works really well as 0-0 best of 7.
It was, dang it.
Anything else is too complicated, including what they did, is my point. I have literally not disliked anything else more than I do this in the history of the game.
Yeah, I have another one. It's not the exact same, but it'll kind of get the point across. I don't like this because it has a tiebreaker. But we'll say like you could do a best of 7. If it's 3-3, like if Dig wins 4-0 or 4-2, whatever, they win. If it's 3-3
Gotcha.
and then the Zealots win, then they go into another game. Say a game
There
8.
maybe could be something there.
Yeah, say a game 8 to where then if they win again, bam, it's over. If Dig wins, then it goes to another game. Next game wins or whatever. That's not my original idea. Again, I hate that tiebreaker thing. But my thought was it worked out in a way to where there was, in some way, if Zealots took an advantage, there was like a game subtracted to put them back on even footing, but all 7 games were still played. And I'll try and think of it for next week's episode or whatever, because it really was.
There could be
like
something in that space. That one idea you had of it possibly going to a game 8, I don't hate as much, I guess, because it would prevent the scenario in which, like, say, Dig just flat out blew out Zealots the entire time. It's possible you could go 4-0 in just 3 games, which is also a lame thing with the current system. But so that fix would potentially fix that in a way. In that they get a bonus, but they don't actually have a numerical bonus. So there may be some middle ground here, but I don't know. I'm standing firm on my 0-0.
But yeah, and like I said, I get your side, but I also get the other side just because Dig did go undefeated. But it's weird. And also, if they went to a game 7 this time, it could have completely ruined like this grand finals, experience and how it played out, because this game was so amazing.
True.
Went down to the last line.
It did end
Say they
on
did
the
a
best
game 7 and it was
possible,
just
so.
like a stomp in game 7, and then it would have been like, and people kind of would have forgotten. They wouldn't have forgotten about game 6, but it wouldn't have stuck out nearly as much.
They wouldn't have forgotten about it. And in fact, I want to point out, I haven't forgotten about what I think was the coolest moment in the entire tournament. I wanted to point this out. So it was Zealots versus Tempo Storm, game number 1. I believe it was on Volskaya up near the top. Did you catch that crazy moment where Jehao just went nuts? So what happened was that Zealots are kind of pushing in on top. They've got the Triglav Protector, all that good stuff. And they've worked out this combo where Mopsio takes a Medivh portal, ports back toward, I believe it was June, if I'm not mistaken, on the Medivh, or Malfurion rather, taunts him, takes the portal back through. So Malf still taunted, is still trying to follow where Garrosh has teleported to. And in doing so, like it was like a mind control. Malf just mindlessly walked forward into his death.
Nice. I like that.
Crazy moment. And like I literally I've never heard Jehao go that nuts, because I actually had to rewatch that moment a couple times to even see it myself. But Jehao was going nuts. He was trying to describe that moment while also trying to cast what was happening at that time, because the Triglav Protector was still taking out the rest of Tempo Storm. So it was super funny. Like every other line was like, I can't believe what just happened, but yeah, the Triglav Protector is killing everything, but just wait until I tell you about this other thing that happened, and Tempo Storm is dead. Like it was awesome. If you guys want to go back and just catch one moment in the whole thing, I want to point that one out for sure.
So I want to have a discussion. One of my cool or favorite moments was Tempo Storm, I believe, versus Fnatic.
Oh yeah,
on Sky Temple with Fan playing Maev, and they were fighting over boss, and there was a Firebat charge that just had the most perfectly timed vault and he just jumped right over him, and like it
Oh yeah.
completely turned the fight around. Followed up by an amazing Twilight.
Well, you make a good point too. Maev and Blaze are both just so good.
They are. So this,
So fun to watch too.
I want to have this discussion with the fear that people are going to think I'm poo-pooing on NA, which is not my intention at all. But this, and I wish TBK was here for this discussion as well.
Do you really?
Did
Man,
did, did North America do as well as they did because they have improved? Did they do as well as they did because Europe has regressed, or a mix of both? One of the reasons I think North America did so well in these early stages is I feel like Europe didn't prioritize Maev nearly as much.
yeah, and
North
he definitely
America-
caught on to Maev better.
North America was all over Maev. She was tearing up games against Europe in these early matches. Whenever they caught on to that, she was getting banned more, or they were picking her, and that's whenever you started to see the North American teams fall out. In my heart of hearts, I think it's a mix of both. I do think North America has gotten better, and Europe has regressed a little bit. I say that, but then the grand finals made it look like Europe was at the top of their game. So maybe both regions have just gotten better, and North America's gotten a little more, or even a little better than Europe did. I don't know.
I think some of these NA teams just took more of a chance on Maev. I could see, like, you've got to think about their scrimming schedule over the course of what have now been, 2-3 nerfs to Maev. I could see being a team looking at those nerfs and just kind of saying to yourself, well, I mean, yeah, she's still good, but how do we really feel about her now that she doesn't have the base armor, now that she XYZ, the Q, the fan of knives, is down in damage. And yeah, I think NA just took a chance on her. And I think she plays super well in these matches. A point that Kaldor actually made about Spirit of Vengeance, the E, that I found super interesting was, so you can send out the Shadow, and you can play mind games with your opponent because you're essentially threatening them without actually threatening them with your body, because they just don't know if you're going to take the blink or not. And so, like, you can kind of zone with it, play mind games. It's super interesting. And also, I did not see the I mean, it makes sense looking at it now and certainly seeing how it played out in the matches, but Warden's Cage over Containment Disc,
I did not see
no
that
question in my
coming.
mind though.
Yeah. When those two heroics were announced, I thought Warden's Cage was going to be a joke.
It seemed like the gimmicky off pick. I mean, it's going up against what's basically web wrap with Anubarak, right? But no, like, we saw it used offensively, like to start a group fight. We saw it used defensively, everything in between. We saw it also as a way to just cut off fleeing teams. Mm-hmm. So,
well, and good. Also, these questions I'm asking you, any of our listeners, yes. I'm actually like really intrigued on your all's feedback on the state of North America and Europe as well. So my question here for you, Multi, do you think North America would have done as well if Maev was not in the tournament?
Ooh, not in a few of those earlier games per se. Although, I mean, maybe they would have just practiced other things.
Yeah. Do you think she had that big of an impact? Like I said, because they were prioritizing her so much that's kind of why they look so well.
In the games that she was played, that you're kind of referring to, where we came out on top, I was starting to think that. I was like, do we as NA just have Maev as a trick up our sleeve? And I'm with you. I think it affected the meta of the tournament moving forward, because that's how these tournaments go too. I mean, there's a meta within the tournament. I mean, if you're a team watching another team up there, you're practically taking notes on, like, okay, what was their pick priorities on these various maps, etc. What are we going to want to ban out? What pocket strategies have we seen? So your question's super hard though, because we almost have to go to an alternate universe in which Maev doesn't exist. But so my gut says no. I think the skill gap between the regions is closing even more. Hasn't fully yet, but this was a good showing for North America overall, I'd say, especially Tempo Storm. So no, I still think they would have been okay. But you're right. Catching on to Maev, using her as they did, was a huge help.
Yeah, and I was really surprised that they kept letting her go through the draft as long as they did. Because it's like, all right,
Oh yeah,
surely this game they're going to ban Maev. Nope.
yep.
Well,
I mean, I
maybe
liked
this
watching
next
her
one.
played.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
hey, I won.
So again, super intrigued on everyone's thoughts there. Huge shout out to both NA and European teams, especially Dignitas for winning the Western Clash. Congrats to them.
Yes.
But I'm super stoked. Again, like just it's multiplied. My stoke is multiplied times infinity right now for BlizzCon, and see if if NA can take some more steps here. Heroes Hearth looked amazing. Timbo Storm looked great. Team 12 looked okay. Like they've improved. Honestly, like Team 12 is, I just don't enjoy watching them much right now. They're not an exciting team to me. They seem to do all right, but it wasn't super exciting. And Team Freedom did not look great, but even they admitted they were trying. It seemed like they were trying to adapt to European meta, and it did not work well. So,
yeah, sometimes you have to play your own game as well.
Yeah.
There's a balance there to be found for sure.
So
But that's true for a lot of games, just in general.
yeah. So send us in your thoughts, questions, favorite moments from the Western Clash. Really intrigued to hear all of everyone's thoughts. TBK is not here, but he still does have some community content shout-outs. First up, we have here Chair League is returning. They sent out a tweet, assemble your Blizz Heroes team and get ready for the next season of Chair League beginning on March 20th. So Chair League's still going strong. If you are interested, definitely check that out. It's a wonderful, wonderful recreational league to be a part of. And, good training. If you have some hopes of trying to find a team, push your way into the open division or prepare for the open division, get your way into the HGC. Or if you just want to sit back and have a good time with some friends and play some competitive games. Always a good time.
No, it's a good stepping stone, and it's always just got good production value across the board. And they've been at it for years now, so they know what they're doing.
The next one up, and I saw this as well, is a skin. It is Cosmic Galaxy Ragnaros, posted on ArtStation by Joseph Kim. He's a freelance artist. And this thing is incredible. It kind of reminds me of a Void Demon from World of Warcraft with some sweet armor.
It's like a Void Lord that's kind of his hammer is also reminiscent of that, and I don't know the name of it. It drops off. Yeah, it drops off the boss right before Gruul in Burning Crusade. Whoever that gaggle of. Oh yeah, you didn't play back then. Ha!
I did. I just didn't raid.
Fair enough.
I played since vanilla.
You would have also seen the maces from the BC cinematic too.
Yeah, it's like a Draenei Paladin mace.
Yeah. But no, this I think this works, and I hadn't thought of going like the Void Lord route with him, but I mean the body type fits, and you could totally pull it off.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily Void. It's like he's made up of the cosmos. He's a galaxy.
Yeah. Okay. Good point.
And it really is cool. He has some different color variations for him. Got like a reddish orange one, a bluish green, a yellow, and a purple, as well as the purplish blue. Yeah, they're all really cool. And I think, because Heroes has said that for his recognizability, they kind of want to stay towards the red, orange, and yellow tints. But I do think this one could make a case for he would still be recognizable. Just based on his movements and his size and stuff, I think I would like to see him branch out because, his skins are just... He still only has the 2 skins or 3 skins right now, I guess.
Yeah. His normal, the master, which is spikier, hornier.
And the baby, which the baby rag, don't get me wrong, it's awesome. It's a good skin.
No, super good. But it's also here they could do crazy things with, and I hope they don't shy away with it. Yeah. Like this. Yeah.
And they could do some cool stuff like Christmas as well. We have some emails, listener questions and stuff to get to this week, so let's hop into those. All right, Multi, this first one, it comes from Shardstorm.
Yes, and Shardstorm writes, going to wait out the first week or so of placement madness before you get in the HL queues, boys? Let's answer that one real quick. Yes. That's the plan.
Surprise.
Indeed. But I do want to start quite a bit earlier than I did this past season. So, yeah. Okay.
Well,
Second, go ahead.
yeah, I'm gonna wait. I'm still probably not gonna play much Hero League this season, just because I'm still kind of just out of it until hopefully performance based matchmaking comes in.
Yeah, me too. But
But I'll still play it. Not too stoked on it though. But
I
yeah, the
want to play it a
second.
little bit more than I did last season, only because I do want to get more of the feel of the voice chat, even.
Yeah, that's
Start
true.
to
That would be the main reason I play it, is to do some more testing on the voice chat.
yeah.
But the next one we got here comes from Stimmed Sheep.
Oh, actually, we didn't totally finish Shard Storms. He had a
Oh,
second
yeah,
part
yeah.
to it where he's just kind of addressing. All right, so he begins speaking again. Can we stop giving the Chinese teams a free pass when they lose a player to visa issues? Fnatic with Sonic as a sub set a new standard as they lost their shot caller Quacknix. So letting the Chinese teams get away with losing to minor region teams when they lose a player shouldn't be on anymore. So I mean, I kind of wanted to address this one only because I know in the past I think we've just kind of slipped into saying, because the Chinese teams when they come over for BlizzCon and that sort of thing have a lot of visa issues. I know we spend a lot of time lamenting the fact that there even are visa issues, and that's my main point in those conversations, is to just say that, like, I don't know, the fact that esports in general isn't taken seriously enough on the international stage to where our countries will let people come over for just a quick set of games is the real frustration for sure. But it may have led to us saying things like, "Oh well, Chinese team lost to this lower team, but they were missing half the roster," and the truth in those moments is that they were, and it is rough to have to sub in people. I mean, yes, Fnatic did really well this tournament too, but could they have gone farther with Quacknix? Could they have gotten to the finals instead of Zealots? Who knows? I mean, they got fairly close as they were. So, I don't know. What do you think about all that?
Yeah, I think it's weird because, and I do believe whenever we've had these visa issues in the past, the Chinese teams, I think sometimes maybe they've only had one person that can't get over, but a lot of times it's been like two people, and we've
Yeah, a
actually
couple.
combined two teams. Which, one person is hard enough. Two that's almost half your team that's never played together. And I think this is less of, okay, now China doesn't have an excuse, and more of Sonic played phenomenally. That dude is
Yeah, yeah.
going to be in the HGC in
no
the future
question.
here. And yeah, Fnatic played great. I still think, like, when Fnatic lost and stuff, we still didn't say, we weren't acting like, oh, they should have won that, or they deserve to lose. It's still like, oh, they didn't play as well, but they had a sub. So it's still like that reaction when they lost. It's just when they won, it's like, holy crap, they're playing amazing. So
Yeah, with
it's kind of different, but kind of the same. So I don't know. I still think, I don't think we're giving China a free pass, but it is super unfortunate, and like, we obviously don't expect them to play at their full potential when those issues arise.
Yep. And again, my main issue with it is just visa issues. I'm just frustrated by that in general. So, but okay. All right. So, yes, I will get to the Stimmed Sheep one now. So, Stimmed Sheep wrote in, hello, I just heard you talking about the Raynor rework potential. And here are my thoughts from someone who still busts out the Raynor, because sometimes you want an assassin who is beefy and can be alone and not need much healing. That is a good point. He's like the opposite of Genji, right?
Mm-hmm.
I need healing. Yeah, just go with me on this one. Okay. So he says, first, the W is super undervalued. Walking in with a minion wave or two, plus your team, if you're in the middle and pop your W, most people undervalue the amount of damage that the wave is going to be putting out. People have a built-in read on how much damage a wave will do to you and how much they can do. That simple key press changes the dynamic and could cause some massive mistakes. People also undervalue this if you choose to solo lane. Increasing the attack speed for faster wave clear by the minions or mercs, if you're pushing with them too, can be helpful. The best thing they could do would be to bake in the E trait where you can press it and give him a new trait. Make that trait activatable to grant one additional range to his current range, similar to like a Tychus run and gun, perhaps. He also thinks that they could rework some of the lesser pick traits too. basically, I think Raynor's auto build is one of the few viable builds. Both heroics are good, just need some minor trait reworks, so that you can cast the E anytime, but it will auto cast for you if you want to as well. And then just adds a few simple tweaks would bring him back to the forefront, I think. So yeah, I mean, I'm with you there. We definitely hit on the fact that we kind of talked about swapping the trait in the E to where it now becomes a trait that's activatable, and now he gets perhaps a new ability in the E slot. If I were to see an ability, I'd still kind of like to see some form of escape or gap closer or something like that. I don't know if that would be too strong with also having the self heal. When you compare like him and Vala with the vault, maybe there's. I know there's the trade-off. She doesn't have the survivability, but she does have the escape. So they'd have to figure out something there. But yeah, I mean, I do love hearing the input from someone who plays Raynor consistently here. So that's always good. And it is true. I mean, there is probably a conversation that could be had for now that some of the Merc camps got birthed. They got birthed them right up, them Merc camps. There could be a conversation about how, yeah, if you're pushing with a night camp and you're still under the protective guise of the wizard and all that good stuff, popping that W, pushing the lane, yeah, there could be something there too. And perhaps even I undervalue it.
Yeah, I like the idea of making it to where his adrenaline rush, you could cast that if you wanted to.
And you can, there's a talent for
heal.
it.
Yeah.
Like baseline.
But I the range thing, I don't know how I feel about. I think you have to be really careful on that because he already is tied with the longest range in the game. And extending that even further might be too powerful. It depends on how long it's up and how long the cooldown is, things like that.
The range thing is weird though, because like it was originally billed as his passive was to just have longer range than anyone, and then they just started releasing other heroes that had that range baseline. So that's where you get people joking about like renaming the trait to just be "This is Jimmy" or something like that, and having it do nothing.
That's actually a point I don't really think we even hit on last week. Mostly last week we were talking about just the fact that he has 2 buttons to hit. We didn't really mention the fact that his passive is nothing now.
Right. Literally
it's literally nothing.
There.
So I don't know. I think they still keep the adrenaline rush incorporated somehow and give him another ability. But as you said, you think, his auto attack build is one of the few viable builds right now. That's, I think, where his main problems lies in his talent tree. And I'm not sure that just new talents and stuff can really fix it. They may need to tweak a few things, but like Multi said, like it's really cool to get input on somebody who actually still plays him because we haven't played him in forever.
I do like him. I actually really like auto attack builds on ranged heroes, just in MOBAs across the board. Like I think my auto attack Vala build is still my favorite one. I don't always pick it because it just isn't always the best, but it's fun. I like playing Raynor when I get the chance. I just don't take the chance. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And we're not. I guess we're kind of with some heroes getting back into a kind of an auto attack meta, but we haven't. It's been a while since we were like really hard into one. But yeah, if anyone else has any ideas out there, feel free and send them in. Until then, we'll just kind of have to sit on our hands and. Right. Wait until we figure out what the heck they're doing with them.
That we will.
Hi, baby.
Yep, there he is. Hey, Ryan had one of those today.
So many babies. Not me. Anytime soon. That is going to do it for
I didn't say that.
This week's episode. But before we get out of here, Multi, why don't you go ahead and tell our lovely listeners where we can be reached?
I think I'll maybe have Rowan in the background explain it to you, but no. Okay, so you can find us in-game by typing /join /LOTS, or you can join our Discord. A couple ways of doing that. There's the link, www.bit.ly/lotsdiscord, or there's a sticky at the top of our Twitter, which is @Lords of the Storm. We're also on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm, which is live Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Central, and Alpaca Zord. How's it go again?
It's Alpaca Zord Jennington.
Yes.
How could you not know, Multi? He has been our co-host several weeks now.
Yeah, more honestly, consistently than any of us.
Okay.
Um, we need to make a Twitter for him. What are we doing? Anyway, um, okay. So yeah, you can find our show there. If you don't know what we're even talking about right now, it's because you didn't check out the live show. So
It's true.
there you go. Okay. We're also on Facebook, facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can email us with feedback or questions to lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. And if you want to help out the show, a couple good ways of doing it. One of them being leaving a review. I kind of gloss over this every week, but it's seriously a huge deal. It's kind of what brings the show to the forefront of people searching for not only heroes, but gaming podcasts in general. So definitely get that out there. And then also, we do have the Patreon, patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where, as we stated earlier in the episode, we don't really know how to pronounce what you are.
The patron.
Like, are you Patreons? I've heard people say Patreons. They're probably wrong, but I have heard it. So anyway, my point there is just
Patrons.
to say thank
They're
you
patrons.
for the patrons. Yeah, let's do that. Thank you to all the previous patrons and potential patrons.
Patrons and Mexicans.
That's right.
Mexicans. There we go. Mexicans.
Mexicans.
Gosh.
Yes.
Gosh. I actually said it right the first time. Mexicans. You can also find us individually, myself, on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, all those things at Gizmozord, as well as on Convert to Raid presents the BattleNet News Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Central. Multi, where can you be reached?
You can find me on Twitter at Multizord, and I'm also on another show called Hearth Casual, which is on Twitter at Hearth Casual. Trick on that one too. If you're searching for it as a podcast, do it as one word, Hearth Casual. That'll help. But yeah, so that is of course a Hearthstone show with Ro from Realm Maintenance, although we go by Kevin and Brian, so that's cool. And so this week is another full episode. So we're recording tomorrow night, and there's a few things going on in Hearthstone, like the announcement of next year and a tournament support mode type
Arena
thing.
changes.
Huge arena changes, and that's kind of arena is one of the main focuses of the show because it's meant to be like off ladder modes instead of hardcore getting into what's the latest thing on Vicious Syndicate Data Reaper report. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're trying to keep that show a little on the short side, but this could be a week in which it's not because there's just so much going on.
Fair enough. You can also find TBK Zord at TBK Zord. And on Twitch, if he streams, but probably not right now because he has 2 very small children at twitch.tv/tbkzord. So follow him. There'll probably be lots of cute baby pictures and things. And, we'll just see how he's doing. Maybe he'll be here next week. Maybe not. Either way is okay. He is bringing more Zords into this world for world domination in 2048.
What he wanted to do was he wanted to have 2 kids in the similar vein as he wants Varian to have 2 halves of Charlemagne.
Fair enough.
That's his reasoning. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Oh, you know what I'm doing that's really cool? It's not cool at all, but in Diablo 3, I'm making all these characters, but I'm naming them in the opposite sex of their Heroes of the Storm counterparts. So
so you're coming up with the
my
alternate.
male Crusader is Brohana.
Okay.
My what will be male Wizard is Lee Man.
I mean, you are right. This is not cool.
My male.
I applaud you anyway.
Barbarian is Bronya.
Bronya. Okay.
I haven't thought of one for Val yet.
Brala? I
Brawler?
guess.
Like
Brala. Yeah.
Brala.
What about Nazeebo? I guess it would just be Nazeeba. Maybe.
No, Nazibro.
Nazebo's a dude already.
Yeah. I don't know.
Nazeeb. Oh, Bala. Oh, there you go. Bala for Vala.
Bahala. There you go. Anyways, before we continue this really unimportant and dumb discussion, we'll go ahead and get on out of here. We want to give a special thanks to our patron producer, Ouroboros Sword, for supporting the show, as well as our mod and my English teacher, Wicked Kitten in chat, for keeping things calm. Till next time, we'll see you next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Central. Have a good one.
What's your name? Conversation.
I shall do no more.
Bam.
I wanted to literally drag it out to the end.